Matthew Graviss is Public Sector CTO for Atlassian. It's great to see you again on the other side of the government industry divide. One of the things that you really fostered at the State Department was collaboration. What's a total collaboration landscape look like in your view in the context of a DevSecOps environment and operations?
Totally. Great to be with you, Francis. I'll start there. Long time coming and something I've been wanting to do for a bit. Where does collaboration start and end, and what makes it successful? It's a huge question. You don't start and succeed on your own. Like at the end of the day, it's a team sport. I saw that. My last job was the Chief Data and AI Officer at the State Department, and relied on a whole team of different kinds of folks to get it done. So there's kind of two dimensions of collaboration the way I look at it. Like one is a human layer, a personnel layer. The other is a technology layer. I mean, on the personnel layer side, it starts with leadership attention. I was at the State Department for 5 years. I had a really healthy amount of top cover and support from Deputy Secretary. Last June, I did a fireside chat with Secretary Blinken. And so having that top cover is valuable in a couple of different ways. One is kind of an implicit endorsement that what you're doing is important, so that when leaders are speaking inside the agency to their workforce, they're saying, hey, this stuff matters, this technology stuff matters. You can imagine like a Secretary of State who's on the road nonstop, 1 million plus miles each of the last several Secretaries of State. They don't have a lot of time for internal stuff. And so for somebody at that level to spend time on an important topic to us, like technology modernization, agency modernization, things like that, is really impactful and sends a pretty clear message to the workforce that it's important. We also had leadership attention when it came to making decisions on where we spent our time in our modernization journey. We had this campaign concept where every 6 months we were doing a couple of different major transformations, and the Deputy Secretary and the Undersecretaries would sit around the table and make decisions about which of those would happen. I'd be the presenter, you'd hear Undersecretaries argue over who gets this modernization effort to focus on their mission space. That's when you know you got them, right? When they're fighting over who gets to do the work. And so that kind of leadership attention is really important. Also on the human side, partnership is everything. We launched an AI steering committee, and it wasn't like, let's spend 3 months preparing a charter and that kind of stuff. It was literally, let's send out an invite to something called the AI steering committee, and people will show up. And it was everybody who had equities in the agency around adopting AI for our workforce. So that included like the privacy official, that included the ethics official, that included the cybersecurity folks in a substantial way, legal, et cetera. Anybody who would have a say in this, let's get them involved right away. And that's especially important when the technology you're trying to use to modernize is new. Like when generative AI hit in November of 2022, when it became available to the public, nobody knew the ins and outs of the technology. And what you don't want is a serial way of the developers delivering building the technology, and then handing it to a security team who has to then learn what the technology is as well. So getting everybody, same with legal, getting everybody involved early, I think is really valuable. From the technology layer standpoint, one of the reasons I joined Atlassian was because I'm a systems engineer. I think about things in terms of a system. Collaboration is everything in a system, because you're understanding like the interdependencies of people and processes and platforms and things like that. And so I thought it was really valuable to be able to build platforms that have capabilities that allow teams to collaborate. And Atlassian was really attractive to me from that perspective. Our stock ticker is team, literally. So it's really about how do we empower teams to maximize their productivity, to maximize the outcomes for their particular mission, whether it's an agency or a company.
What did you learn on the government side and now on the industry side about how those two sides of the equation should collaborate together effectively?
I took a lot of meetings with vendors in government. I think that all too often the solution is presented first to the government instead of understanding the challenges. And so I'm trying to bring that mindset to Atlassian where we walk in, we say, what are your challenges? And not just like, what are your technology challenges? Forget the technology for a second. Let's back up and let's talk about business challenges. What are your mission challenges? What's a pain in your neck, today as an executive or as a leader? And how do we go about solving those? And I think if we flip-flop the conversation, oftentimes that's really, really helpful.
Matthew, I'd love to talk more. We're out of time. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Francis. Appreciate it.